Actually, in the
she didn't give me 14 apples.
in the degree program, the students actually have to do the talks. The instructor just goes around. So we assign you a plant a week, and I might try that next semester. Give you a plant each, and you do it.
Oh no.
Yeah, I think that would be a great idea.
That'd be kind of cool.
Sounds great.
Well, I don't know. Well, it would mean you would get at least one plant, right? Because it would be one you've done your profile on. Where are we? Cotoneaster apiculatus, number 324. This is another very popular group of landscape plants, the Cotoneasters. And let me talk about them generally first. They fit in with the spireas as a whole group because they're very commonly used, and they're used for several reasons. One, they have nice glossy green leaves, usually red berries, usually white flowers, always white flowers, I should say, not usually. Usually red berries. It could be slightly orange on some of them. They're usually sprawling plants. Some of them can be more upright than others. They're usually good for ground covers, and in this case they're very good for erosion control as well, because this one in particular, as the branches arch, they will hit the ground and root, right? So you get a lot of covered area. Now there is some disadvantages, and this is one I don't particularly like and I've never used, but it's commonly used in institutional commercial landscaping. So what you have to realize here, we've got remnants of an old landscape that was designed a number of years ago by landscape architects. I'm not going to beat up landscape architects, but they know about 100 plants. And you know, this is one of the 100 blue spruce, which are now dying, and this Cotoneaster. So they use these things because they're quick, they're cheap, and they have some, you know, they're fairly reliable, i.e. diseases, pests, etc., etc., etc. What I don't like about this, and we've left it here, we've gotten rid of a bit of it, but we're leaving a bit because we've got to have a sample, is that it can be a litter trap. We've actually pruned this, we've secator pruned this. Typically, landscape companies will come along with a pair of hedge shears and prune it as a mat. It looks a little more attractive at that point, but then you've got a lot more effort involved, so why wouldn't you just plant herbaceous ground cover? You can get evergreen herbaceous ground covers like Pachysandra or Vinca or Heterohelix, or even some of the deciduous ground covers like Epimedium, and get a nice uniform look rather than shearing something. So you create a lot more work. But as a litter, if you go up to University of Western Ontario where they have a large planting and they don't even secator prune it, so you get these long stems sticking up, and all the litter, like as in paper bags and stuff, it looks pretty disgusting. So that's one of the things I don't like. Two, it's a good habitat for voles. Voles are little mice-like creatures.
We saw a couple.
And they weed in there and they feed on the bark, and that's okay if they live in here and kill this, but then this is the habitat, and then they're over there eating good things which they shouldn't be eating. So that's a particular problem. And then two is the maintenance that's required in it. Now we're learning this as a deciduous plant. The Cotoneasters can be deciduous, semi-evergreen, and evergreen, depending on the species and depending on the winter that we have. So this actually could be evergreen. We could look at this in January and still see leaves on it. So you know, they fit in the neverland of definitions, but there are some great species of Cotoneaster, and there are a couple that we will learn next semester, and there's some that are really, really quite attractive, but there are a lot that aren't and are very utilitarian. Why are you learning them? Well, because it's a common plant. You need to know the common stuff before you start to learn the more interesting stuff. Okay. Any questions on Cotoneaster? I find that the number of questions decreased dramatically in proportion to the temperature and precipitation levels. I'd never give families. And do you know why I never give families?
Because research.
Because I want you to go and look it up in Dur.
I'm pretty sure it's rosy. Thanks.
But you are right, it is rosy. Okay, we need to go. This is quite an easy walk actually, because quite a few of the things you have